So, hi everyone, and welcome to Where is My Doorway to Possibilities Summit. And we have another new doorway opening up today with the gorgeous Christine McIver. But before we do that, let me just introduce myself. I'm your host, Nilofer Safdar, and this is an all-access consciousness telesummit. So we're going to be using the tools and processes from Access Consciousness, which has been founded by Gary Douglas and co-founded by Dr. Dane here. So how did we get to be so lucky to be on an all-access consciousness summit with all the yummy tools and processes? Welcome to the call, Christine.
Oh, thank you, Nilofer. Oh, I'm so excited.
We've already had the party going with, people chipping in, and, I love your amazing energy. Thank you for being on the call. And what else can we create today that we haven't ever created before?
Well, all I can tell you is, Nilofer, about an hour ago when I was like, oh, it's in an hour, it's starting in an hour, I started getting excited. I started to get this intensity in my head, which most of us would call a headache. And I went, oh, this call is going to be off the chain. This is going to be amazing because it's extremely rare for me to get something intense like that. So I'm just really curious about what everyone participating tonight and listening to this call, what this is going to create in the world. I know without having a linear understanding, it's going to create some huge changes, and I'm very excited to be here to do that with you.
So Christine, it's really interesting, the title of your talk, Be the Dominatrix of Your Life. And the word dominatrix, it kind of brings up a lot of energy for a lot of people. So what is the dominatrix, and how do you see it as, as a doorway to possibility?
It's very interesting. Of course, it does trigger a lot of the usual, the dominant role or sexuality, bondage, and different, submissive types of behaviors. And what is interesting for me, though, about being the dominatrix of my life or the dom of your life is to really demand, to make that demand of yourself. And when you are making that demand of yourself, nothing and no one can ever stop you. And when you step into that energy, can you just get the energy of the dominatrix, the strength, the I'm not stopping for nothing energy? When you be that in your own life, you begin to create and demand more than you've ever had before. And when we're willing to have our own backs, truly have our own backs and do whatever it takes to create the joy that we desire, we not only change our lives, but we change lives all around us. Nilofer, you've been doing that in your life. You are very different than me. All of the people that you have on these calls are very different. But each of these individuals, including yourself, has made the demand that you are going to change something. Fundamentally change it, no matter what it takes, and you are. But so many of us are looking outside of ourselves, and we're looking to other people as to the how-to, right? We look to, I don't know about you, Nilofer, but I've taken a lot of, gone to lots of business conferences. I've taken lots of different online programs, read lots of amazing books. And most of those books are the how-to. And the how-to is for someone else, right? It worked for them, so if I duplicate what they did, hopefully I'll come up with the same outcome. And sometimes a little bit of that works, but a lot of the time it doesn't. I often will take a nugget away from it, but for me, when I got to that point in my life when a lot of things were working, Nilofer, I'm telling you, if you've ever reached that point, any of the listeners ever reached that point in their lives where they're like, you know what, I'm too tired. I'm too worn out. I can't do it anymore. I've been trying so hard to create this life, to create the joy, to create the relationships, to create the body, to create the bank account, and I just can't do it. And you're ready to give up everything and leave. When you get to that point, I call it like a choice point. It's that point where you're either going to completely throw down your gauntlet and say, enough, I'm out of here, or you're going to throw down the knife and say, I'm doing this, get out of my way. And I reached that point in my life 2 years ago. And I didn't know which way I was going to turn, Nilofer. I had no idea what I was going to do because I had been, quote unquote, doing everything that I thought I should do in order to create the joy in my life. But there was one huge thing that I was missing. I was truly missing me in the equation. I was missing checking in on what was true for me and what did I really want. What was going to make the difference for me in my life, and who was I? And what lies had I been buying up until that point that wasn't creating the life that I desire? You know, there's a lot of people in Access that maybe aren't as much of an extrovert as I am. And I made myself wrong for that, Nilofer, my whole life. I was made wrong for it as a child. And today, when I really started to step into this, I have created my life where talking is what I make my living at. Bringing my laughter and my joy and my energy is what is creating everything. And I was trying to turn that down and do what everybody else said would make me successful. That wasn't me. So how could it possibly make me successful? Does that make sense?
Absolutely. I mean, I love what you're saying because it's like, wow, I'm listening to you and I'm going, wow, but isn't that what this reality really desires, for people to be extrovert, and you made yourself wrong for it? And that just is like, it doesn't matter who you are, what you are. We have this fundamental, I think it's like a dis-ease, going into the wrongness of us, no matter what it is.
Well, we're always, yeah, and right, and you're more, I would say, you're not as much of an extrovert as I am. When you and I first met, it was very, okay, you're not a lot, and there's nothing wrong with this. It's like I often say to people, people will say to me, "Oh, Christine, I'm nothing like you. I'm not an extrovert. I'm not a big talker. I'm not this. I'm not a that." Because they're looking at me and they're defining that success looks like me. And I'm like, wait a minute. So, Nilofer, let me ask you the question I ask them. Nilofer, do you like different types of flowers?
Absolutely. Love them.
So name 5 different types of flowers you like.
Roses, lotus, petunia, gladioli, lilies.
Daisies, dandelions. I love dandelions now. Of course, that's the simple access consciousness. So would you look at all those other flowers and just choose one and say, you are all doing it wrong, this is the only correct one?
No, absolutely not. I mean, literally that book pops into my awareness, a co-written by Anne Maxwell, Would You Teach a Fish to Climb a Tree?
Exactly. There's no wrongness in the universe at all. So when you step into that, when you really begin to look at that question, and I've been hearing that since I was a young girl, just like Catherine yesterday, I was listening to her call, and she's so brilliant. And she was raised Roman Catholic as I was. Now, I wasn't a bitter Roman Catholic like many people are. It was an experience for me that I enjoyed. But there was a lot of heavy judgment there. There was also a lot of contribution for me. And one of the things that I heard when I was just 17 years old, and it has stayed with me to this day, is God doesn't make any junk. God makes no junk. okay? Whether you believe in God or not, just that whole idea that there's no wrongness in the universe. That stayed with me, and yet that there was that voice in my head that was like, well, if that's true, then why do I keep screwing up my life? Then why am I unhappy? Why don't I have the money? Why don't I have the joy? And that kept running through my head. And one day, finally I was like, all right, enough of this. Enough of this. What in the world is going on? And when I started to claim, own, and acknowledge that everything in my life I created, and I stepped out of being the victim, I stepped out of blaming anything and everyone around me, that's when things started to change for me. When you're being the dominatrix of your life, I want you to know that it's not usually comfortable. If you've created a lot of chaos in your life, getting out of that chaos may be uncomfortable, because when you've been doing something always the same way, to change it means that you have to get uncomfortable. So if everybody would cross their arms right now in front of them, I would say 99% of you put your right arm over top of your left. Did you, Nilofer?
I didn't cross my hands.
You're not behaving. I'm going to have to get my whip out. Now, if you were a good girl and boy, and you did cross your arms, I want you to do it the other way. Cross your arms the other way, putting your left over your right, or the opposite. Now, how uncomfortable does that feel? It's awkward. It's awkward for me. Right now, I'm literally flipping my arms back.
Yeah, for me, it's comfortable to cross the left over my right, so the right one was uncomfortable.
The right one was uncomfortable. And if you have bangs, and your bangs go from the right side of your head to your left, or the left side of your head to your right, I encourage you to try to change that and to feel comfortable. So change, the bones of change initially are uncomfortable. So when you want something different in your life, that's where being the dominatrix and leaning into your life is saying, I don't care how damn uncomfortable this gets. I am changing this. And I'm changing it now. And the only other being in the world that you have to make the demand of is the one that you look at in the mirror. That's the only one. No one in the world is creating your life but you. And no one in the world can stop you but you. And when you begin to claim, own, and acknowledge that you have created everything, there's so much power there. And everything that brings up for everyone, because that's really heavy right now, can we destroy and uncreate it all? Whew. Right, wrong, good, bad, POC, POD, all 9 shorts, boys and beyonds. When you claim, own, and acknowledge that all of the chaos, all of the anger, all of the unhappiness, all of the sadness, all of the lack, any part of any of that you've created, please claim, own, and acknowledge at the exact same moment that you can change it all. When you really look at this, Nilofer, and you go, okay, I created this. All right, there might have been other creators involved, but I was creating this. All right, cool. Look at how potent I was at creating that chaos. Ha! What if I made the demand to change it? What if I actually started working with the forces in the universe? What if I actually started looking for something that was fun and joyful? And I started to change and create anew. Now, here's how my brain operates, Nilofer, which I don't know if yours does this sometimes. And maybe some of our listeners, this is like this for them. But when I get to that moment where it doesn't seem like there's any choice left and there's nothing left in my bank account or in my cupboards, or I just feel like I'm kind of in a corner, I kind of do what I call like a checkup from the neck up. Have you ever heard that one?
No.
Okay, so it's kind of looking at the bare bones. So what I would do is I would say, okay, do I have a roof over my head today? Check. Am I healthy? Check. Is there food in the cupboard for breakfast? Check. Are my kids okay? Check. I'm okay. In this moment, and that's all we have, right? In this moment, in this time and space, I'm okay. I'm okay. So when we're not living in the past and we're not beating ourselves up and judging ourselves for any of the chaos we may have created, and we're not projecting into the future that we may recreate that, but we're just here right now on this call with you, Nilofer, and we just do a little checkup from the neck up, all is well. All is well. And from this moment, the clarity is that when you decide to make another choice and to demand more in your life, you can create whatever you desire. That's it for me. And that's what began to change my life, my joy, my happiness, my business, and my bank account. When I began to be the dominatrix in my life, for me, with me, and sometimes kicking my own self in the butt, that's when I changed my life. And that's when it started to become joyful and exciting. And that's when, for me, it was like all about possibilities, completely and totally. And now, each and every day, it's like, okay, what am I going to create today? What are the possibilities today that have never been there before?
Wow. You've just fried me.
Sweet. That'll be $1,000 for frying you. So you said that you had some of the questions from some of our listeners tonight. Do we want to take some of those now? Or do you have more questions?
Now let's pull out some of the questions. So, how do I get the life I desire and be happy if I always feel unloved by the most important people in my life? How do I make them see my point of view? I want to be happy and loved.
Well, you're certainly not alone. And I believe that all of us want to be loved. We all desire deeply to be loved. And if you're looking outside of you to have those people love you, what you are really doing is you're looking for them to fill something within you. And I think that all of us have probably been at this point sometime in our life. And I can tell you that for me, I'm divorced, and there was a time, of course, during my marriage that I didn't feel loved. And that brought me to the point of really looking at, okay, if I'm not making that person my source for my love, then where is it going to be created? Where is it going to come from? And one of the things that I absolutely know is it begins with us. It begins with each and every one of us finding the things that bring us joy, that bring us love. Because when you are being that, when you are being the joy, when you are being the love, that's when you begin to attract to you other people in the same vibration who will begin to enjoy you for you. And it's a really good barometer when you're unhappy with relationships. It's a really good time to say, okay, I'm unhappy with relationships outside of me, so what's going on within me that I'm not enjoying about me? Because, relationships, people come in and out of our lives all the time, whether it's a lover, whether it's a friend, whether it's even a family member. there is no guarantee, whether you are blood or not, whether you have a marriage or not, whether you've given birth to somebody or not, that that relationship is going to continue to be one that's a contribution to you. But the one guarantee that you have is that you are always going to be in your life. What was the second part of that question, Nilofer?
Hold on.
So it was about love from others and about being happy, right?
Yeah.
Well, and I think the being happy is really looking at what would you like to have in your life? What would bring you joy and happiness? And whether it's a different job, whether it's starting your own business, whether it's taking up a hobby, whether it's finding new people to create adventures with. Maybe it's writing a book. Maybe it's playing with people all around the world. I mean, there's so many opportunities to create joy. Start writing down. This is something that I often do. You know, I have a coaching business, Nilofer, and with a lot of my clients that get to this point, I will ask them to go back and look at when they were a child, what gave them joy? What was it in your life as a child that gave you joy? Because when we're a child, we don't have a point of view around what we should and shouldn't do. And we're not often judging ourselves around what we're doing. One of the things that I love to do, Nilofer, is swing. Get on a swing and swing. And do you know what? When I'm in a park, guess where I'm going? Immediately. I don't care who's with me. I'm going to that swing, and I'm swinging because it brings back that energy of absolute freedom and joy. So if we look at the things in our childhood that brought us joy, and we just tap into what was it about that gave me joy? It's not that you have to go on the swing all of the time, but what was it about that? And how can you recreate those feelings, those energies in your life today? Start creating the joy that you desire where you are now. Sorry, Nilofer, go ahead.
You know, it's really interesting you're saying this, Christine, because initially when you were talking about I was looking for the joy, I was actually looking at, you know, that part of my life when I was, you know, not so happy with my life or whatever. And to be honest, I did not even desire joy at that point of time because I was so much into my own trauma and drama that I could, you know, I didn't even know that I could ask for joy and happiness. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And now it's like, you know, what if you were to just be in the question, I wonder how much fun can I have today? I wonder what joy and happiness is available for me today. And literally, you know, you will have things show up for you, which is going to give you exactly what you're asking for.
Right. And you know, every day when you wake up, I mean, those are some of the great questions of Access Consciousness. You know, universe, show me something fun today. Universe, show me somebody to play with today. When you are asking the questions of the universe and you don't have a point of view around how they show up, you're going to be surprised around how things can show up so differently. You know, I work from home, Nilofer, and I'm often physically in my home working at my desk on my own. And I will still ask this of the universe, so I might have a conversation with somebody over Skype or through Facebook or over the phone. And sometimes I'll go out to the store, you know, to get food or whatever, and just having a laugh, having a conversation with the cashier at the store can bring me fun and joy. It doesn't have to be defined in doing something extreme like skydiving, although skydiving is a lot of fun. It can be something very simplistic, and when we're not defining how much fun has to show up or how it has to look, we can begin to, it's like gathering crumbs of joy that can just build and build and build. But why did we come here, Nilofer? When you know, so many of us in our lives, we're trying to get it right, we're trying to have enough money, we're trying to have enough, you know, experiences or the right house or the right job. What's the point of all of this? If joy and fun and laughter are not at the heart of everything that we're creating, what's the point?
Hmm.
What is the point?
But Christine, do you see that that's a very different point of view than most people have?
Yes.
Because people are not looking to create joy and fun and laughter.
No,
They're
because
trying they're trying to fit in, and they're trying to be successful as defined by this reality.
absolutely. And
And having fun and joy and laughter is not part of what is success in this reality.
no, according to many, many people. And how many people in the world are sad and depressed and they are using some form of addiction, drugs, alcohol, shopping, sex, um, whatever, having 70 cats, whatever, to try to create joy or to try to numb ourselves to the pain of not having joy.
Absolutely. So let's take a live caller.
Okay.
Hi,
Hi.
this is
Hi.
Rich in my Rica.
Hi.
Hi. Well, when the guest said joy in childhood, whatever about your joy in childhood, I remember half an hour of being one afternoon of feeling happy when I was 2.5, and that's it. And that was, I think, after I won a fight against a smaller kid, which is not something I'm particularly proud of. So I, but maybe that. Well, that's one issue.
What was it, Richard, about what was the feeling that you had after that fight?
Oh, my older brother had just lost the fight with wasn't the older brother of a bigger child of. It was a brother of this one, so I felt like I belonged, and I had vindicated my brother. It was a very peaceful time. I don't know why the older brother didn't come in and take care of me.
So was there a point where you felt like you were using your voice or you were standing up for something that you believed in?
Yeah, I was being loyal to my brother, and I was
Right.
successful.
So how can you create being supportive and bring in the kindness at the same time?
Well, that's a good question. I leave it blank.
And
My mind's blank. My mind's
and
blank.
excellent. And everything that's brought up for you, can we destroy and uncreate it all?
Yeah.
Right,
Yes,
wrong,
please.
good, bad, POC, POD, all night, shorts, ways, and beyond. It's just a really fun question to play with, Richard. So it's not that you want to recreate fighting with somebody, but when you look at something that's brought you joy and you're curious about it like a child would be, and you start to look at, okay, what was that brought me joy? And you can begin to ask that question of yourself each day.
Yeah, well, I certainly feel very good usually when I'm meditating.
How's it get any better than that?
Feel even better. keep that feeling all during the day.
What would it take?
Oh, what?
I said, what would it take to keep that feeling all day long?
Oh, giving up judgment of everybody, beginning with myself.
Yeah, beginning with yourself and being an allowance of when anyone else chooses.
Yeah, when people judge me for not being competent, which there is some evidence for.
You have a lot of laughter in your life, Richard.
What?
I think you have a lot of laughter in your life, Richard.
Well, it's intermittent. I shut it off most of the time, just like I shut off tears. Now that would be a miracle. What would it take for me to be able to not shut off tears when it's optimal, or to be really, really relaxed about laughing?
What have you judged about laughing?
It's exhausting, and it's not serious. And people will criticize me for laughing at them or laughing. Inappropriate laughter is a phrase I heard once.
Wow.
Not once, more than once.
Wow. So what if them judging you, Richard, would bring you more money? Would you be open to receiving more money?
Well, that is maybe the real problem.
Oh, now
no, absolutely not. More money wouldn't be fair.
You have a lot of points of view, my friend.
Oh, well, I know what the right answer is, but I'm just telling you what my subconscious says. Look at my life. Receiving money there's something really wrong with it, and I cleared 4,000 items about it.
So Richard, what if you stepped back from all of these points of view that you have, and you kind of went up in a helicopter and you looked down at all these points of view, and you were curious about them. You didn't say this is right or this is wrong or this is what I should be doing or I shouldn't be doing that, and you were just being curious about your points of view.
Well, curious sounds like a great word, and viewing from a helicopter frankly, I don't think I ever actually heard that question before.
Well, that's one of the tools that I use to bring myself out of something being significant. So stepping back from something and giving it a bird's eye view and really just looking at and being curious about it and turning it around and poking at it or pulling it apart and just being curious. Go into that little boy's curiosity that you still have with you and start looking at this. What is this? What is it about not receiving money that I've decided is right? And what would actually happen if I did start receiving money?
Oh, I actually know some of those answers. One of them is what's right is it allows me to get help from my friends and in a tangible and clear way. And what would happen is I would have to decide what to do with it. I've had that happen. I work for myself, so I get $3,000 every now and then and zero then for quite some time. So when the $3,000 comes in, what bill should I pay? Or what access material should I consider? Well, I actually haven't buying.
And Richard, can I ask you a question?
Uh-huh.
Do you pay yourself first when that $3,000 comes in?
No, absolutely not. It's just out of the question. I know that's a tool that no doubt works for those people who use it.
Here's something that will change, has changed my reality and may just change yours, Richard. If you're willing to be dominant in your own life, if you begin to pay yourself 10% of that every single time, no matter what, and you put it into a having it account, not a savings account, a having it account.
Having it sounds like a good.
Right.
That's a new term to me. Having an account.
Having an account, and what you do is you begin to step into the energy of having money. So you're not going into this, excessive amount of money and then lack money, because you always have money, Richard. And when you begin to do that, the universe says, oh, look at Richard. Richard's willing to have money. Awesome. It's time to give Richard more money.
Well, I'm sure that works.
Richard, Richard, wait a minute. Hold up. You're sure it works? Are you willing to step up? Are you willing to be the dom of your life and do what's required to change this, or do you just want to keep recreating the same thing?
Well, I really haven't chosen, or actually so far I've been chosen to keep on recreating it. That's obvious.
Okay,
so far.
You're at a choice point with me right now.
Yeah.
I'm going to do to you what I do to my clients. Are you ready?
Okay.
We're gonna disconnect your line from asking me live questions until you make a decision. You're going to either step up completely to your life and you're going to start making the demand of you, or you can just keep doing what you're doing. Your choice. What do you want to do?
Make the demand of me or keep doing what well, it certainly feels lighter to make the demand of me to take control of my life. I got really tense on the second one. keep doing what that sounds a lot worse than the last 14 times I thought about it.
Kind of sounds boring too to keep doing the same thing, doesn't it?
No, I think I've done it long enough.
Okay. So, Richard, it sounds to me like you know a lot about the Access tools and you know a lot about the Access programs.
Uh-huh.
How about you stop doing them and you start being them? No matter what. No more excuses. No more telling the story. No more. Enough.
Start being it.
Yeah.
Well,
nope.
I'm perfectly happy to not tell the story, except when people ask.
Wait a minute. I'm really glad that you brought that up because I'm going to bring in a personal story, okay? So for probably 12 years, people would ask me questions about my life, and I would go into the story of my marriage, how it ended, what occurred during that time, and I would go into a lot of blame and blame and blame, and I made all of that creation responsible for my present state of being.
Yeah.
Everybody would ask me questions, and I would go into this huge, long story. And finally, one day, I'm like, you know what? I'm tired of even hearing myself tell the damn story.
Yeah.
Let alone the energy that it kept creating in me.
Yes.
So I made the demand of me to not speak of it in that way again. So when people would ask me, I would say, I'm single. I've been single for a number of years. For these number of years, I've been working on growing my business and raising my children. I no longer had to go into this tirade. So you have choice, Richard, even if somebody asks you. Change the story.
Yeah,
and change it now. Enough with this story. Because you know what, Richard, when you're not choosing the joy and you're not choosing the creation of your life to something greater than it's ever been before, do you know that you are either contributing to the change in the world or you're not? And guess what, Richard? We need to change the world.
Yeah, that's true.
And you are a vital part of changing the world, Richard. Are you willing to take up that challenge?
Yeah, I've been working on it working on it sounds so heavy. I've been taking, I think, meaningful action on it the last day particularly.
Okay. Are you willing to turn that up 100 times?
Turn it up 100 times.
Turn it up. Turn it up, Richard. Turn it up.
That feels different.
Thank you so much for calling in. Wow, this was so much fun. And I would love for you to join the program that I'm going to be putting on and seeing what else we can change in your life.
Well, it sounds good. And I think I've gave you, well, to me it seems like a difficult issue. I'm 68 years old. And
a girlfriend of mine said, listen, you've been alive for 5,052 years. I've been alive for 5,048. Who cares?
Yeah, there's a lot to that. Yeah, I'm tired of answering the questions myself. And I got to learn that when people ask a question, maybe they're just being polite, or maybe they, in any case, a very short, factual, relaxed answer.
Just ask yourself what you would like to share. What would be a contribution? What would change my life in this moment right now?
Yeah. And what can they hear, which would eliminate almost everything, probably. What would be a contribution to what would be a contribution, and what would change my life?
Yeah. Because this is truly all about you right now, Richard.
Yeah, it's me. There's nobody else really causing this, or I'm not
create
trapped.
everything.
Yeah.
I can hear you echoing in the background. That's pretty cool.
I'm sorry. I have the. I can stop that. I have the computer playing in the next room.
Thank you so much for your contribution tonight, Richard. I really appreciate you calling in.
Thank you so very much.
You're welcome.
I'm surprisingly pleased. Thanks.
Keep laughing, Richard.
Okay.
Bye.
Keep laughing. Yeah, bye now.
Wow.
You saw a little bit of my Dominatrix program come out there with my clients.
Oh, totally. So let's see. Let's take up another question which has come in via the webcast. So my question for Christine is, the idea of dominatrix makes me giggle, and at the same time I associate it with force. Have I got this wrong?
Well, yes and no. The giggling, first of all, is often a sign that there's something right about this for us. There's something. You heard Richard laughing after I would ask him questions. When something was light for him, we're giggling. So there's something about this for this question for this caller. There's something about the dominatrix that's right for them. And oftentimes we do associate, this reality associates being a dominatrix as a force. So we're forcing something into it. But even if you were in and this call is going to go in a completely different way now, Nilofer. Even if you were in a dom submissive relationship, the dom
What do you mean by that?
If you were in a sexual relationship, so someone was a dominatrix, like a dominatrix, and you had a submissive. So you know what that is in a sexual relationship, where there's whips and chains and all the rest of it involved. Okay. If you don't know what that is, or everything that's brought up for everybody that's sent them into a beyond, can we just try and uncreate it all? Right?
Yes.
Good, bad, pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Even in that, where this reality looks at what I'm saying as dominatrix, even when you look at that relationship, the submissive still has choice as to whether they want to go into that relationship or not. Okay? So there's still choice involved with a relationship like that. When you're looking at being the dominatrix of your life, you still have choice. So it's not about forcing your choice onto someone else. It's about being the demand of you, changing your reality and doing whatever it takes. And sometimes it requires heavy lifting, as in, digging through your emotional baggage to move past it. Sometimes it requires you working these tools night and day to get past something that you bought into that has been holding you locked down for a long time. Sometimes it's about being I like to visualize it as leaning into your life, like as if you're in a windstorm and you have to lean forward to move through it. That's the force that's required to move through it. And you wouldn't not lean into the wind. If you were in a huge storm, you wouldn't not lean into it, because you could be thrown and you could actually be killed, right? So you want to lean into your life. You want to keep moving in the direction of the creation that's going to bring you the joy and the laughter and the happiness and all of the things in the world that you desire and that are here available for you. But it really requires you making the demand of you. So many of us are looking outside of ourselves at what this reality is saying that we should be doing, how we should be doing it, who we should be doing it with, how long we should be doing it. Like this idea of retiring at 65 just about makes me throw up. Like, I don't even know what that word means. That, to me, that's like sit down and wait till you die. That's not me. This reality is forcing on us what this reality believes will bring us happiness, or it's forcing on us what it wants, how it wants to control us. I'm the only one that gets to make my decisions for my life, and I'm going to create the joy for me. What I do maybe doesn't give anybody else in the world the joy that it gives me. And I'm okay with that.
So, like one of the things when we began, you said that, there are a whole lot of people who are making a different choice, who are being in demand and changing. So when I look at my life, and I know that at one point I went, I don't care what it takes, but this has to change. And it's literally like I stamped my foot and I said, I don't care what I'm going to lose. I don't care what I have to give up, who I have to give up, but I'm going to change this. And when I look at that, there wasn't much force in it, though there was a very strong demand for it. And then there is this energy which shows up where, I step into the change really easily. And then there's this energy of I kind of resist and react the change which is going up. So that, I guess that's the point at which I'm trying to do force, to choose or not to choose. But most of the other time, it's just a choice, isn't it?
It is just a choice. I mean, that's the name of my business, Inspired Choices. So what's inspiring you that you would like to choose? What would you like to choose that would inspire your life and inspire you to get out of bed every day? It really is just a choice, and it doesn't always have to be force. Absolutely not. What I have found...
And the other thing about it is that it's like you ask for change, but you never know how it's going to show up. Absolutely. And I guess, for me, what has been true is that sometimes I go into this resistance and reaction to how things are showing up instead of going, oh, is this the change I've been asking for?
Right. Oh, absolutely, Nilofer. I mean, when we're asking for a change in our life and we're asking to work with the universe, universe, do you have my back on this, right? Because a lot of times things show up so different. When I started my business, Nilofer, I had expected that I was going to do just, business coaching. And now my life is so different. If you'd have told me 3 years ago that I was going to be doing body work, I would have said to you, are you crazy? And you know what? I absolutely love it. Doing the access bars and doing the body work and the SOP work. Oh my gosh, it is so much fun. And I enjoy it so much. And guess what? I actually have a potency with it. Who knew? But if I'd had only followed what I decided the way it should show up, how much would I have actually cut out of my life? So when we are asking for joy, when we are asking for a contribution, when we are asking and we leave it so wide open, and when something shows up and you just look at it with the, like a dog kind of tilts its head and goes, huh? And you just look at it with that curiosity, with no conclusion, no decision, no right or wrong, this is good, this is bad. You just look at it and you begin to play with the possibility of it, whether you choose it for 5 minutes, 5 days, 5 years, 5 lifetimes or not. You just look at it and you play with it. And if it continues to be fun, you continue to choose it. As long as it's being fun and a contribution to your life in some way, what else is possible can begin to come in. But when we do this limitation, when we say it has to show up like this, it's like the universe says, oh my goodness, I wanted to give you that $1 million, Christine, but you've been deciding that you're only going to play over in the hundreds pool. You're not going to actually step up in the millions pool because what you've asked for, the millions don't come in that package.
Wow. So, talk about stepping up.
Stepping up. Okay. Well, 80% of people usually choose change out of pain as opposed to out of pleasure. So most of us have to get to the point where something is really, really awful before we will begin to change. When that begins to occur in your life, I would suggest, first of all, don't go into the judgment of yourself. And if you do, I like to say bookend it. Say, I'm going to take today and I'm just going to be as miserable as hell for one day. And then tomorrow I'm going to wake up and go, okay, what else is possible? I'm done with that. I'm going to begin to change this. And just that choice, just making that choice, Nilofer, is the first step to stepping up. When you are willing to be vulnerable with yourself, when you're willing to be vulnerable with others around you, you begin to step up, which in this reality we've been taught is a contradiction, right? If you're vulnerable, you're being weak. That's not actually true. The most vulnerable people in the world, the people that put up their hand and say, you know what, I need some help over here, they're willing to do whatever it takes, and that's stepping up. When you are looking at people like yourself, Nilofer, in the world, and, Dr. Dane and Gary Douglas and all the other amazing beings in the world, and you're looking at these people, especially we're talking about the Access people, you're looking at these people that you've gathered on this amazing summit, and you look at them and you say, you know what, I love what that person's creating. What if you're willing to start asking the universe, what would it take for me to create what that person's creating? It's not about, this was something you had said to me in Venice. I remember this so clearly, Nilofer. It's when you're looking at what someone else has and you say, what would it take for me to have that? That begins the stepping up. And when you start doing this on a daily basis, and as I said to Richard, you start being the question, you start being the tools of access. When you begin to do this and really make the demand of yourself, no excuses, no more excuses, even when you see, well, I didn't do it there. Okay, cool, next. And you just continue to be it. That is the stepping up. And when you don't have a defined definition of how something has to show up, you begin to receive in so many different ways. Since I have really been doing and being these tools consistently, Nilofer, everything in my life, everything has exploded exponentially. Before Access, I probably went on a vacation once every 10 years. Now I can't even tell you. I'd have to stop and actually think about how many places I have traveled to in the last year, which is contradiction.
I have looked at you from Venice, which was March of last year, and I've looked at what you've been creating in these months, and it's been phenomenal. You've stepped up.
Yeah, I have. Thank you. Well, you know what? All of the beings in Access have been such a huge contribution to this, but I kept saying every day, no matter what it takes, this changes. No matter what it takes, this changes. And you can see in that demand that I'm making, I'm not saying it has to show up like XYZ. I'm saying no matter what it takes, this changes. And another thing that I'm doing is I'm asking, what else is possible? And when something comes, and it's really cool, it's like you get this peripheral vision. Everything opens up, Nilofer, when you ask, what else is possible? With that curiosity, but that energy of demand, what else? What else? What else? No more playing small. No more waiting to be happy. What else? What really starts to occur is that you start to receive, but also you start to be open to more, and then therefore more can come. And what has been happening is, as I've been stepping into this energy, it's been connecting with other people, with other opportunities, and I don't go into the yes-no about an opportunity. I go into the curiosity about it. So asking and being curious without a definition really has changed everything in my life in the last year. Everything. And it's so much fun because I've learned so many new things over the last year that I never thought I'd be doing. I mean, I'm a radio show producer now, producing, that that station, and I have staff members on my team, and I'm working with all these brilliant, Access people all around the world on the radio. Nilofer, I didn't have that, going on in my reality 2 years ago. But what I did have was the desire to change whatever needed to be changed to create the joy and bring the possibilities into my life that I knew were available.
Wow. So, Christine, you've really like been this energy of demand that I don't care what it takes, this has to change. And this has been just like a little dip in the waters. So what if people want more of this?
Well, I'm going to be hosting a 5-call teleseries specifically on this program, Be the Dominatrix of Your Life. And this is just but a taste of it. So we're going to be stepping into talking about, what we've created and how we can change and go beyond our past and look at every area of our life, really be vulnerable with every area of our life and look at what is working and what is not. And sometimes that's going to be uncomfortable, but making that demand to start recreating is going to start to give you the opportunity to see where you would like to desire and where you require to have more. Then we're going to start really moving into making the demands, really getting out of the blame, getting out of the excuses, getting out of the stories and the judgments, and really stepping into choice. Choice in such a fundamental way that it's going to just become this knee-jerk reaction of, okay, choice. What choice do I have here? What choice am I making? Choice. And it's going to be, we hear about this all of the time, but it's going to be a fundamental tool. Then we're going to learn to dance with the universe. That is something that has been so much fun for me. It's like when I'm dancing with the universe, it's like going on a treasure hunt. The universe says, brings me to Venice and has me rent a room in this flat. And I meet this woman. Where is she from? She's from where? I've never heard of that country before. And her name is what? Her name is Nilifer? I don't know who this woman is. And look where that has taken us, right? Dancing with the universe. What's possible here with this woman that I met in Venice? And how much fun was it creating with you and playing with you during our certified facilitator training? That completely changed things in my life in stepping into being a more global person in the world because you were willing and I was willing to go on a journey together that week. So dancing with the universe, no matter what shows up, hey, there's no coincidences. So what could this be to create? And really looking at how we can begin to dance with the universe. And then we're going to create forward with all of the callers, learning to be an allowance of all of our brilliance and setting targets to change everything. So that's essentially, and we're also going to have a live meditation where we're going to look at and create a meditation together that is going to be something that the callers can have in their toolbox to change on days when maybe they're not willing to make the demand, but the person that created it with them was. And for the first 20 callers, I don't know if you've shared this with any of the listeners, with the first 20 callers, I'm going to actually have them live on my radio show, and I'm going to interview them on my radio show. That's a global call, of course.
Wow. I think just that one element of being on your radio show should be enough for people to get your back.
Well, you know what? If you want to change your reality and you really want to show up and be visible in the world and have your voice contribute to the change, a radio show is an amazing way to do it. And I'd be honored to have people come on and play with me on the radio.
Wow. Christine, you have such an energy of demand in your universe that it's like this program is for people who are really brave.
Well, okay, I'll take that. Brave and sick and tired of being sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Exactly,
You know,
exactly.
you don't have to, in these 5 seconds, be the dominatrix with the energy that I have today. But if you're really ready, and I mean really ready to make a change in your life like never before, don't buy this program just to say you bought this program. I don't want people to do that, Nilofer. I want people to purchase this program and come and create with me so they can seriously, truly change their reality so we can change the world together.
Wow. When you first started talking about the dominatrix, I was looking at everything that you were saying, and it was like, yes, I have been that. And for me, the way it has shown up is very different from the way that you are being with it. And so it's going to be different for every person.
Absolutely.
But it's just that choice to make a change.
Exactly. It is going to show up differently for every single person, just like everything does. But when we are stepping into and making these choices for our life, we can recreate ourselves in a snap of a finger. And what I really want to do is I really want to bring these tools and break these tools down to get them into, I often say get them into their DNA so that they are being them and that they can see how rapidly they can change their entire reality. I mean, before before Access Consciousness, I had a business on my own, and I had clients, and I was doing okay. And today, I am a radio show host. I'm a radio show producer. I'm going to own the radio station. I do Access Consciousness. I have classes. I facilitate classes. I do body work. I'm working on my own book right now. I'm a business coach. I build websites. I'm doing so many things. So many creations have come my way, and it doesn't stop, which is so exciting. And guess what? Now I have total choice around everything. And something that I was talking to a friend about today, and I really want to bring this home before we finish, is I want everybody on this call to listen to this. You are the source of your life. You are the source of everything in your life. You do not have to be at the effect of anyone else's choice because you are a creator. And you are the source to create everything in your life when you are willing to make that demand of yourself. No one can destroy you, only you. And when you know that, when you really know that, you can be willing, like you said earlier, Nilofer, you can be willing to lose everything because you know you can create beyond it.
And you know what? You know what you're actually going to end up losing is all your limitations.
Oh, Nilofer, you're just bang on.
I mean, it really, like, if I look back over the last 2 years where I've been making that demand of myself, all that I've lost is all my limitations. And everything else has just shown up in a bigger, greater, more amazing way than I could have ever imagined. So, Christine, you know what? There's a question which has come in. So the question is, how do we change ourselves so differently if we have always been diplomatic and helpful and supportive of others and non-dominating?
Well, first of all, you have to ask yourself, do you want to change? The desire to have more begins to be the catalyst to change this. I can tell you that for me, I was always the helper. When I was a little girl, I'm the 9th of 10 children. When I would babysit for my siblings, I would not only take care of the children, I would clean the house, and then the next time I would clean the house, and I would do all the laundry, and then I would do the dishes, and I was always trying to be more for other people. That eventually becomes extremely exhausting because you're giving to other people, and they may not appreciate it all the time, and where does it leave you? When you're always helping someone else and you're leaving you out of the equation, or you're putting you last, eventually what can begin to be created is resentment and anger, sadness, which can manifest into ill health in your body. So you're at dis-ease with your relationships, you're at dis-ease with always giving to other people. You're going to create that in your body. You have to decide that you want to have more and greater. And I can tell you that when you begin to make that demand of yourself, when you begin to say, you know what, I'm not putting everybody last, but I'm certainly not putting me last. I am putting me first. When you begin to see that by you putting yourself first, you be the invitation for other people to do the same. Oftentimes when we look at someone else and we've decided or concluded that they need help, we've bought into some lie that they can't do it for themselves. Well, they probably are creating that lie as well. That doesn't change their life. That, it's like, feed a man or teach him to fish, right? It's like, let's teach other people to fish by how we do this. Let's step into taking care of and creating our life of joy and abundance, and we will teach others to do the same. Sometimes, this is a saying that I say sometimes saying yes to me, Nilofer, will mean saying no to you. It's an honoring of me. It's not a dishonoring of you. And when we begin, go ahead.
And it is actually, putting yourself in the computation of your life where you were not there anymore.
Right. Well, we've been taught, if you're a good little girl or you're a good little boy, you'll consider others first. You'll put everybody ahead of you. That's a lie. That's a lie to keep us controlled in this reality. This is not about being unkind to anyone, and this is not about not being a contribution to other people. But when you're putting yourself last, that's the most unkind thing you can do in the world, because you're saying to you, you don't matter.
Yeah, I have an amazing process for this.
Oh, good.
What is the value of never being unkind to others? And everything that is really destroy and uncreate it all. Yeah. And this process was actually from one of the Creative Edge of Consciousness videos that they played in the 24-hour global live stream. So when I first heard it, I said, I don't think that applies to me. But, when Gary spoke about it, he said that when you start running this process on yourself 30 times a day for the next 30, 60, 90 days, or however many days it takes, what you're going to do is unlock you from being unkind to you.
That's brilliant. So brilliant.
So what is the value of never being unkind to others? So everything that brings up, will you destroy and uncreate it all?
Yes.
Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shots, boys and beyonds.
Oh, that is brilliant. And everywhere that anyone has bought into putting themselves last, making themselves wrong for what they desire and require, can we please destroy and uncreate all of that?
Yes. Yes.
Right, wrong, good, bad, pock, pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyond. And ask yourself right now, would an infinite being truly put themselves last?
No.
No. Never. And if you ever wonder about that, look at a child. I mean, the children, especially under the age of 5, are such brilliant examples of really being the infinite being. Because they choose for them, always. And they're happy, and they're playful, and they're curious, and nothing is significant. Nothing is significant. They're just being. What would the world be like, Nilofer, if we all stepped into just being and playing and creating? How much joy and laughter would we all have in our lives, and how much would that joy and laughter actually heal the earth?
Wow.
And everywhere that you've been refusing laughter and joy in your life, can we please destroy and uncreate all that?
Yes.
Right, wrong, good, bad, pock, pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Joy and laughter are two of the most fundamental things that can change everything. And you know what? I'm an extremely hard worker. I am, I love creating. I'm going at it for hours and hours each and every day. But there is joy in that for me. There is laughter in that for me. Creation it's just like the fuel for me. And when we get out of what it's supposed to look like and we just keep following what is fun, what is a contribution, what is joyful for us, our bodies, and our beings, we can change the reality around us for everyone.
I have this comment come in, Christine. Brilliantly put, Christine. Honoring of me is not a dishonoring of you.
Exactly.
Wow. Thank you so much, Christine. This has been so amazing. It's like I can choose for me.
Yeah, you can choose for you. And what choice is everyone willing to make today that will change their reality? What choice?
Right.
What choice can I make today that will change my reality?
Wow.
Thank you so much, Nilofer, and thank you everyone for listening and your questions and your contributions. I want to go out for a run right now. I'm just so charged up.
So thank you everyone for being a part of this brilliant conversation and for your contribution. Thank you for your questions. It's been just amazing. And thank you, Christine, for showing up and being that energy of demand for change and showing us the energy of what else is possible with change that we haven't even considered.
Thank you, Nilofer.
And I look forward to speaking with you once again tomorrow when we speak with the amazing Rhonda Burns. And I wonder what doorway to possibility she is going to open up for
boy.
us.
Get ready.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Bye now.